Oh, and if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter.
Oh, you haven't fought anybody, and nobody know who you fought. You know exactly who I fought. You a fighter, you know. So why would you go out there and try to diminish the guys that I fought because you hear the media say that? None of that matters, because I'm here now.
They locked in, young fella. Tunnel vision.
Crawford beats the shit.
Really? Yeah?
Now, I'll tell you like this, and I mean the weight division things, you know, but I hope Crawford beats the shit. What Canelo did on that day was disrespectful to boxing. It was just simply disrespectful to boxing and everything.
Rolando Romero has just slammed Canelo Alvarez, declaring that he hopes Terence Crawford brutally defeats him in their upcoming clash. However, Caleb Plant remarked that he believes the fight will be exciting, full of action, and far more intense than Canelo's bout with John Ryder. According to Plant, that earlier fight was expected to be slow because of Ryder's defensive approach and low punch output. He also recalled that Canelo has admitted in the past he dislikes facing opponents who don't throw many punches. Since Ryder employs that cautious, Cuban-style method, Plant wasn't surprised by the outcome. By contrast, he explained, the upcoming fight with Terence Crawford will be completely different. Why? Because of the styles. Crawford is recognized for his high punch volume, sharp speed, and relentless pace.
Be a good fight. Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I think there's going to definitely be some back and forth. And a lot more punches thrown than the Skull fight. I kind of honestly was expecting that with the Skull fight. Yeah. I heard Canelo say in an interview before he don't like to fight certain fighters because you heard him say that.
Yeah, he doesn't like fighting fighters like Skull because they don't throw punches. That's all they do, yeah.
And knowing how Skull fights and him being a Cuban, and I felt like I had seen that coming from a mile away. I didn't really expect it to be I thought he was either going to wind up catching him and stopping him, or it was going to wind up being how it went. So, but that's a stylistic matchup, you know, and it's going to be a completely different stylistic matchup between him and Bud, and I think it's going to make for an exciting fight, a good fight.
When asked whether Canelo should be considered the favorite, Caleb responded that he does expect him to be favored, mainly because Canelo is the bigger fighter, while Crawford is moving up in weight. He added that people often place too much belief in size differences. Still, betting odds don't always carry much weight. Caleb noted that he himself had once been the underdog and yet managed to become a world champion. As for predicting the winner, he refused to make a call. Instead, he explained that he is simply looking forward to the matchup as a fan, confident it will be a great fight, especially given his knowledge of the sport.
Do you think Canelo should be the favorite in the fight because he's bigger, or do you see he had trouble with Skull, his speed? Terence is going to throw a lot more, and he has that speed also.
Regardless of however the fight itself plays out, I feel like the betting, you know, the betting people will probably have Canelo as a favorite simply because, you know, Terence is moving up a couple weight classes, and people will say, oh, there's weight classes for a reason and this and that. So it doesn't matter what the betting odds say, though. You know what I'm saying? I've been the underdog a couple times. Jose Uzcategui, I was the underdog. That's how I became world champion. So odds only mean so much. You know, once the bell rings, the fighters get to figure it out.
Do you think Canelo wins, or do you think Terence wins? This is my last one.
Can't say.
Can't say.
Can't say. Don't know. I'm just, as a fan, excited to see the fight, and from the boxing knowledge that I have, which I feel like is decent, I think it's going to be a real good fight. I'm excited for it.
Moreover, Chris Algieri pointed out that although Canelo has absorbed powerful shots from larger opponents such as Sergey Kovalev, speed presents an entirely different challenge. He explained that quick, unexpected punches, especially from smaller, faster fighters, can be even more dangerous, as they often catch opponents off guard. Even lighter fighters, Algieri noted, are capable of hurting bigger ones when they combine speed with sharp timing. He went on to praise Canelo's chin as perhaps the best in boxing today, adding that if Crawford manages to break through it, the moment would be monumental. Calling the bout both historic and unusual due to the size difference, Algieri emphasized that fans will be fully engaged, given the high-level nature of the matchup.
Dude, speed's different. You know, power's power. You know, like he fought a guy like Kovalev, he took Kovalev's best punches, you know, big guy. But speed is different, man. And punching power is a weird thing. You can spar with 126 pounders that can knock out a middleweight. And it's not so much that, you know, They have power, sure, and they have power in their weight class, but then you put the speed behind it, and you hit you with shots you don't see, and you get stunned. The problem is that Canelo's got the best chin I think we have in boxing today. So if he can crack that chin, then whoo boy. But I think either way, it's an historic event, but mostly because it's kind of odd. But listen, we're going to be tuned in. We're going to be on the edge of our seat because it's that kind of matchup. Nothing you can say.
Carmel Martin stated that he doesn't have an official pick for the fight, though he is personally rooting for Terence Crawford. In his view, Crawford is the more multidimensional fighter, capable of doing far more inside the ring. Martin explained that Crawford can move fluidly on his toes when necessary, yet also fight effectively at close range. While he acknowledged Canelo as a great fighter, he described him as somewhat one-dimensional, relying heavily on pressure, slick head movement, and counterpunching. Martin added that Crawford should hold the speed advantage and might be able to outbox Canelo, though he stopped short of making a final prediction.
I don't have a pick. I feel like I'm a root for Crawford, and I just feel like Crawford is more multi-dimensional. He can do more things in the ring. He can get on his toes if he really needs to, and then he can also bang in the pocket, obviously. And I feel like Canelo's a great, but I feel like he's more one-dimensional. He's just gonna put that pressure, slick head movement, try to come with them counters. But I just feel like Crawford gonna have the speed advantage, and he gonna probably just outbox Canelo. But I don't have no pick right now.
However, Rolly Romero openly stated that he hopes Terence Crawford defeats Canelo, and defeats him badly. He repeated this sentiment several times, leaving no doubt about the strength of his feelings. When asked why, Romero explained that it stemmed from something Canelo did in a recent fight, an act he considered highly disrespectful to the sport of boxing. While he acknowledged the natural issue of weight classes, Romero emphasized that his support for Crawford comes not only from personal preference but also from disappointment in Canelo's actions, which he described as completely disrespectful to boxing.
Canelo. I hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Really? Yeah?
Now, I'll tell you like this, the weight division things, but I hope Crawford beats the shit.
Why do you want to see Crawford beat the ish out of Canelo?
I just hope Crawford beats the shit.
Why? Like Canelo, is it because of the last fight? Like you haven't been a fan of Canelo, or like why? Like you like Crawford that much? Said your coffee.
What Canelo did on that day was disrespectful to boxing. It was just simply disrespectful to boxing.
In another interview, Rolando Romero went further, saying he does not believe Canelo versus Crawford qualifies as a truly big fight. While he expressed respect for Canelo and acknowledged him as a great fighter, Romero argued that a matchup such as Canelo versus David Benavidez would be far bigger and more meaningful. He questioned the notion of a smaller fighter like Crawford moving up 3 weight classes to face someone significantly larger, insisting that size difference alone does not make a fight great. According to Romero, a true blockbuster bout either matches the very best within the same weight class or brings together 2 electrifying stars capable of entertaining fans at the highest level.
Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia 2 is a big fight.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you.
I don't think that's a big fight. I don't think Canelo Crawford's a big fight.
No?
I think I think Canelo Benavidez is a big fight.
I think that's huge.
I don't think a dude moving up 3 weight divisions to go fight a dude that's twice his size, I know he looked bigger than him the other day, but obviously, regardless, I don't think that's how you...
Moreover, Shakur Stevenson voiced his belief that Terence "Bud" Crawford will defeat Canelo Alvarez. While acknowledging Canelo's talent and accomplishments, he insisted that Crawford possesses the complete skill set needed to prevail. When asked about the weight difference, Shakur downplayed its significance, arguing that it is often exaggerated. He noted that while fighters like David Benavidez are genuinely big, Canelo isn't much taller or substantially larger than Crawford. Shakur also recalled a conversation with Jaron "Boots" Ennis, in which both agreed that if Canelo underestimates Crawford, or slips up at any point, Crawford has a very real chance of stopping him.
I'm gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, In certain fights,
Boxing
yeah.
makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so. No.
Corey, have you got a decision established? Because Redman and Boozy think that Bud actually might stop it.
Me and Boozy talked about that. That's crazy. Me and him got on the phone and talked about it, but I think that's possible. Like I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud can crack too.
But Rolando Romero also emphasized that size will be the decisive factor if Terence Crawford faces Canelo Alvarez. Speaking bluntly, he remarked, anyone who thinks Crawford has a real chance of winning is a complete idiot. Romero stressed that weight classes exist for a reason, and while Canelo is not only the bigger man, he is also highly skilled. In Romero's view, this matchup is not about talent or technique, it comes down entirely to physical size. For that reason, he argued, Crawford has virtually no chance of winning.
Canelo, we got Terence Crawford, that's going to happen in the fall, it's going to happen here in Sin City, your hometown. How do you feel about that matchup?
Anyone that thinks Crawford has a chance is a complete idiot. They have weight classes for a reason.
Too big? Too skilled?
Way too big, way too skilled. And it's not, this isn't a skill matchup. It has nothing to do with skill. It has to do with
Showbiz the adult remarked that the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has grown more competitive in his eyes, especially after watching how easily William Skull was able to move and slip past Canelo's attacks. He also recalled Madramov's strong showing against Crawford at 154 pounds, followed by Virgil Ortiz's dominance over Madrimov, suggesting that both Canelo and Crawford may be showing subtle signs of slowing down. Showbiz noted that Crawford is not the type of fighter to simply run, and while he is slightly taller than Canelo, the height difference is hardly noticeable. He further pointed out that opponents around Canelo's size often get knocked out, unless they are rare exceptions like Floyd Mayweather. Although he still leans toward a knockout victory for Canelo, he admitted he is now less confident about that outcome than he once was, conceding, I think he's a great big man. This is Today News. For more video subscribe our channel Champ Fight.